All right, so this is one of my favorite places in the whole country. It's a place called St. Peter in Gallicantu. Gallicantu just means crowing rooster. And the whole church commemorates what Peter did when he betrayed Jesus. The rooster is facing us right now, so you can't quite see it, but on top of the cross, there's a rooster crowing to commemorate Peter's failure. If you look down here, we'll walk down, you can see the whole church is about, they believe it's possibly built over where Jesus was imprisoned overnight, maybe Caiaphas's house. So it says, oh here it's in French, Les outrages chez Caiaphas, which means the outrages of the house of Caiaphas. So there's lots of dramatic, everything here, by the way, it's actually very recent. It was done like in the 90s, I want to say. It's all mosaic tile. It's probably millions of little tiles all over this place. Beautiful pictures. Check out these doors, I love them. It's a relief. It's Jesus over here, you know, and he's saying like 3 times, you know, the rooster crowed 3 times. And you know, you see him, he's pointing at Peter, and Peter's like, no, 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 I would never do that. I will not betray you. And then up here in the window, so this is supposed to be the Last Supper, and you got the rooster here in the background. And the rooster's like, oh, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna get this guy tonight. So we go in. Here we go. It'll be dark in here. So this is the inside of the church. We don't normally go inside of like current churches, but this is one I like a lot just because, again, I have no idea how many little tiny mosaic tiles that is up there. It's gotta be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of tiles. So down here is you have a picture of Jesus being tried, and you see the Sanhedrin, and they're all hurling their insults and, you know, Jesus, you're bad, you're awful. So it's Jesus being judged above the main altar there. And then if you look up, so what happens is as you go up, it's all about judgment, but as you go up, it changes. So here we have Jesus being falsely judged. And the next level up, in the 3 corners of the building, you have the 12 apostles, and it's all in French. It says, vous serez assis sur 12 trônes, jugeront les 12 tribus d'Israël. So what it says is you will sit on 12 thrones and judge the 12 tribes of Israel. So it kind of says Jesus was falsely judged here, but one day the apostles will judge. He's quoting Jesus. Jesus said that to them. At the very, very tip top, there's a cross, a giant cross, the angels all around it. And it says, Le Seigneur de la Croix serait dans le ciel quand le Seigneur viendra pour juger. So it says up there, it says the sign of the cross will be in the heavens when the Lord returns in judgment. So it's a statement that in one day, Jesus will return to judge. The guy you judge falsely, his apostles will judge, and one day he'll come to judge. And so it's a whole statement in art. And I think it's actually quite beautiful. So I like to bring people in here and show it to them. This is, I think, pretty amazing, actually. So this is underneath the floor of the church. We were up above. One of the things the Catholic Church does a really great job of is they want to be able to worship on sacred places, but they also want to preserve the history. And so what they did here, which I think is actually really brilliant, what they did here was they built these concrete support beams, and the whole church above is actually held up by those trusses, those huge beams there. And that way, all the archaeological site down here below has been preserved. So that's bedrock back there, you know. And then if you look at the hole over here, you're looking actually down beneath that into, you know, again, we can't say for sure, but what could be the pit where Jesus was kept. So where we are down here, it is theorized, and it's a legitimate candidate site. It might be the place. I can't say it is, but it very well could be. You know, they believe that this was a prison. You know, you guys know prisons in the ancient world weren't places that you were never sentenced to 6 years in prison. That wasn't what they did. In the ancient world, punishments were death, a beating, or banishment, or a fine. They didn't really sentence you to prison. When they were holding you in jail or prison, it was a waiting trial. So this is where they would hold people awaiting, you know, trial or execution. So they didn't have big prisons, they just had jails, basically. This might be the jail. When you look around through here, you could see where someone could look at this and say, wow, yeah, you if you had doors or bars there, you see there's post holes dug where there was some sort of door structure. So it's easy to look at this and say, yeah, you could hold people in there. And then you also notice there's loopholes here in the stone, here in the stone, up here in the back. And it was pretty common practice in those days. As a matter of fact, in Ephesus, we saw one of these. There was a loophole where they would tie prisoners who were awaiting execution. So it would be pretty normal to chain someone in a place like this. So, I mean, it is quite likely this was a prison. And so you kind of see that, and you can understand why a lot of people think this is where Jesus was held while he was awaiting trial. So maybe after the trial, waiting overnight to be crucified the next day, maybe he was kept in a place like this. So over here, kind of show you some more of what's going on here. So there's a psalm, it's Psalm 88, which is one of the darkest psalms. And that psalm references being in a pit. And the people that advocate for this site, and again, I think it likely could be where Jesus was kept. I can't say that it was, but there is a possibility. The people that advocate for this site, there's a few things that they point out. First off, they point out the crosses up in the mouth of the well. They also point out that in paint, and this paint is not recent, it goes back to the Byzantine era, so let's say 3rd or 4th centuries or possibly earlier. There's a cross right here that was painted by ancient people. There's also a figure here. I don't think this is going to show up on camera very well. It was clearer even just 20 years ago, but there used to be pretty clear. It's gotten harder to see now, but there's a head and sort of outstretched arms and like a kneeling figure. That was painted on the wall as well. The figure has their hands up like this. And so that, and also because pits were used as jails, they were often used as jails in the ancient world. They would kind of lower somebody into a place like this, and you can't get out of here. And so then, the next day they would drop a rope down to you and pull you out. So that was actually very widely done. Whether or not this is the right place, we don't know. Could be. But it's a great place to think about what he went through for us.
Hey guys, if you like our content, please click like and subscribe. That really helps us out a lot. And then also go to landinthebible.com and subscribe for premium content. And that really helps us. It helps us generate more content. And also half of it goes to help us go overseas and help refugee kids is what we're really called to do.